Hi, everyone. Very excited to be here to be presenting on integrating AEM assets with Edge Delivery Services. So I think we have a good context set with the prior two talks on Edge Delivery Services. And herein we'll be talking about how you can seamlessly use your AEM assets while authoring sites which are built on Edge Delivery Services. So I am Satya Maheshwari, and I have my colleague Ashutosh with me. We both work for Adobe. And a brief introduction about ourselves. I work as a principal in AEM Adobe. I have been with Adobe for the past 16 years and with AEM for the past 10 years. During my tenure at Adobe, I have been working on different areas of AEM. So AEM Assets being one of them, which probably explains the reason I'm talking about integrating AEM Assets with Edge Delivery Services. I've also been part of the Smart Content Services, and for the past couple of years, I have been on Edge Delivery Services, helping some of our customers getting onboarded to the EDS. With that, Ashu, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Ashutosh Shroti, Senior Computer Scientist in AEM Screens, AEM Engineering team. I've been part of AEM Sites, Assets and Screens team in last 12 years of my journey with Adobe. And our Discord and LinkedIn handles are mentioned here. Feel free to connect with us.
Thank you, Ashu. With that, quickly, the agenda that we'll be covering in our talk. We'll be introducing assets integration, quick demo to give you a taste of how this thing works. We'll be doing a technical deep dive to see the building blocks which come together to have this integration. I'll be touching upon some of the next steps over here for this integration and sharing some references, followed by question and answers. With that, first of all, for using using assets on your sites without an integrated DAM, the approach typically that site authors would adopt is place assets from anywhere. Maybe they browse through the internet, or they have some repository where they have these assets stored. So from there, they access those assets and place them on their authoring surfaces, which could be Google Docs, Word, or pages, sites pages. For PDFs and short videos, the option is to upload them to SharePoint or Google Drive, publish them from there, and have those links embedded on your website and serve it from there. For longer videos, which are beyond the limits of the default video sizes supported by EDS, you could upload them to different platforms such as Vimeo or YouTube, and then embed the links to your site from there. And for other asset types such as zip files, Excel, spreadsheets, docx, etc., you would have to host them on a different system and then also deliver it from there. Now, with the assets integration, we unlock the value of a full-fledged DAM integration in your site's authoring experience. With that centrally managed DAM, you are able to manage your assets centrally, deliver assets of different asset types, not just limited to videos or PDFs or images. It enables asset reuse because you have a search and browse experience associated with all the assets in your repository. And also it ensures brand compliance so that you can have only the assets which match your branding guidelines published on your website. And also, AEM Assets comes with out-of-the-box solutions for offering insights into where all the asset is being used and the visibility of the assets across the site. The solution that we'll be talking about is fully integrated with the AEM Dynamic Media with Open API stack, and I'll be covering that in the next slide. Dynamic Media with Open API is the latest iteration of the Dynamic Media stack. It's an API-first approach wherein there are APIs available for asset search and delivery at scale. As developers, you can easily integrate your client applications with these APIs. It is helpful in enforcing brand guidelines, provides centralized asset governance, and also web-optimized delivery, something which is available out of the box. You get your assets, image assets delivered in WebP, AVIF, and other web-optimal formats. Dynamic transformations for having images served in different form factors, such as mobile devices, tablets, etc., is done through the edge compute infrastructure. And for videos, we also support out-of-the-box adaptive bitrate streaming so that the users, when accessing their sites from varying network conditions, may it be slow 3G, 4G, or faster networks, the appropriate video transcoding is delivered to them. So in this integration with Edge Delivery Services, for using rich asset types in your site authoring experience, you do need a dynamic media license in order to get the assets delivered from the dynamic media stack. Without it, you could still integrate with for images, so you can have your images available to you from your AEM assets, and then you can copy them over to the Word document or any other authoring service and use from there. Talking about the integration, there are basically three personas which this touches upon. First of them is the site authors who are authoring the site, and they get a window to their AEM Assets repository from where they can search and browse assets. They get a Sidekick plugin. If they are in the Word doc-based authoring experience, open it from there and select assets that they would want to use. For developers, getting this integration requires basically enabling the assets add-on in the Sidekick, which is a simple configuration, adding a few lines of config in the Sidekick configuration. The second part is in your front-end code of your site, you would want to consume those assets delivered from the assets delivery tier. For that, we have a front-end plugin available. I'll be talking a bit about it in the upcoming slides. And for site admins, the only thing that they need to do in order to enable their site authors to use this integration is to provide them the access to AEM assets through the admin console. With that, I'd also like to highlight this is all ready and available for use. We released the first iteration in October 23 last year, so it has been a year. We have been working with some of our customers, gathering feedback from them and iteratively improving. And public documentation is available on the AEM.live site, and it is being used by some of our customers for authoring their experiences on Edge Delivery Services. So I'd like to hand it over to Ashu for the demo.
Thank you, Satya. All right. So as part of this demo, I'll be showcasing asset selector features and some of the customizations that you can do at the project level. This demo will focus on the document-based authoring. So as we discussed in the first talk, that in Edge Delivery Services, you have two options to choose as authoring surface. One is the document-based authoring, and the other is the WYSIWYG authoring through the universal editor. This demo will focus on the document-based authoring flow. So let me jump straight into the document of this weekend homepage. And here, the asset selector is integrated as a Sidekick plugin. To enable a Sidekick plugin in your Edge Delivery Services project, you have to add a simple configuration under Tools, Sidekick config.json. And on click of this button, asset selector will open. The logging screen will appear first if you have not already logged in. And asset selector offers various search filters for the authors to find the relevant asset. Various asset types, including images, videos, PDF, Office documents, and zip archives are well supported in asset selector, and that can be consumed on your website through this integration. And authors can also view the asset information like expiry date or any other metadata of asset before using it on website. So let me for this demo, I'm acting as a site author for the weekend deployment. Let me, as an author, I want to use an image on my web page. So let me search the specific image that I want to use on my page. So I can do a full text search here. Let's select this image. And when author selects the content from the asset selector, it gets copied to the clipboard, and I have to just paste it back to the Word document at the appropriate location. Next, as an author, I want to use PDF from AEM on my page. So let me search the specific one and paste it here. And let me change the title. So, and as we can see, the link referencing to a AEM public delivery bucket with a simple config, this can be changed to the customer domain. Now, once I save the content and publish it, changes will appear on the live page. Here we can see the content from AEM is available on my live page. And when I click on the PDF link, I can see it is coming directly from AEM. And as we discussed earlier, so same asset selector integration is available in the universal editor also, and then we can consume the content from AEM while doing this WYSIWYG authoring. Now let's move on to the video capabilities. So as an author, I want to use some video content on my web page. Let me search the specific one and paste it here. And as you can see, when we copy the video content from AEM, from the asset selector, the complete block, the entire block gets copied in the clipboard. And this block has poster image as well as the video URL. So AEM has a default video processing workflows that generates the poster image, thumbnails, and the other metadata for the video content. And also AEM has adaptive video encoding profiles enabled by default that generates the right encoding for the video content to ensure best viewing experience across device types, form factors, and the network condition. Let me save the changes, and once I publish it, it will also be part of my live page. As we can see, the video is available on my live page, and the poster image is also visible here. So this poster image helps us in achieving the Lighthouse score 100. Typically, the video player code library is huge in size, and that could impact the performance of the page as well as the Lighthouse score. So with this poster image, we can delay the loading of the video player code as well as the video content streaming until user click on this play button. So it's always recommended to use poster images on the pages where you have video content, and AEM generate all this out of the box. Now, and as I have already captured this. So after all these added, the performance of the page is intact and the Lighthouse score is perfect 100. Let me play the video once. So when we are playing the video, we can see the content is coming directly from the AEM, and this player is also powered by AEM Dynamic Media Platform, which natively supports adaptive bitrate streaming and other video optimizations. And the other thing to note here is all the assets referenced on this page are linked. So one of the advantage of referencing assets as a link is when they get modified in future, the changes will be reflected on the live page immediately, and we don't need to re-author them. So I can show this quickly. This is the video I was using on the page. Let me, in the interest of time, let me just change the metadata of this. And once I save the changes, it will immediately reflected on the live web page. So not just the asset, as we can see, also we can consume the metadata from AEM on our live pages, and all the approved assets will get reflected on the live pages without any re-authoring required. So as we can see, the title has changed. Let me go back to the video block once. So this video block is completely customizable. We were getting requests from the customers to let them define the different styles or structure for this video block. They want to add more rows or columns or more metadata in this video block. And all this is possible. We have introduced template config that one can provide at the project level. And this template config has all the template variables that they can use. And a asset selector understand and translate this template back to the working block. So for the end author, it's very convenient. They just have to pick the content, and based on this template, custom template definition, they'll get the content on the Word document. Then let's move on to the contextual invocation. So over time, asset repository grows, and it can become challenging for the authors to find the relevant asset for every page they are working on. So for example, here as an author, I have two pages open. One is related to skating. The other is related to surfing. And as an author, I want to see different images or relevant assets when I'm authoring these pages. Let me open the authoring document for both of these. And asset selector for both. And as I can see, asset selector is displaying assets related to skating for this page, and here assets are related to the surfing. And this can be achieved with the contextual invocation. So we are passing the context of the page to asset selector at the time of initialization, and asset selector is considering that context while searching the repository. And for this demo, I have used assets tag to set the context, but it can be any metadata. We can use page locale or region or any page metadata to set this context for the asset selector, and it will search it accordingly. So that's all from my side. All the features and the customization that I covered in this demo are well documented. Feel free to refer it and use it in your project. Handing it over back to Satya.
Thank you, Ashu. So let's quickly take a look under the hood of the basic building blocks which are coming together to run this integration. So we have the assets repository, wherein your asset librarian is collating, curating all the assets which are applicable for the organization. The brand manager, who is responsible for ensuring the brand compliance, typically browses through this asset repository, searches for assets which would be good for being published in a campaign, and approves those assets. Once approved, these assets are available through the asset selector integration which we just now saw, and the site's author can search, browse those approved assets and place them on their authoring surface. And once the page is published, it is available on the Edge Delivery. And we also have the Assets front-end plugin, which can be used for delivering those assets in a performant way. And the site visitors get to see those assets on the web experience with a Lighthouse score, which is 100 or in the high 90s. So talking a bit more about the Assets front-end plugin, it's a place where you get a good starting point when integrating with AEM Assets on your Edge Delivery-based website. So it helps in minimizing the front-end coding needed to be done because it has a lot of boilerplate stuff within it. It is a companion of the Assets add-on, and it's ready to use blocks, etc. available in them. And it is extensible at the site level, so you can pick those blocks, use them as it is, or you can change them, extend them based on your site-specific requirement. So the picture on this side tells about the Assets front-end plugin Git repo, and there is this AEM Assets reference site Git repo, which is basically a copy of the latest AEM boilerplate, plus we have some additional code which helps with integrating with AEM Assets. So if you are planning to integrate AEM Assets on your site, these could be two good starting points. You can copy them over or use them, inject them in your site as a Git subtree, and then copy and extend them based on your specific use case. A quick recap of all the things that we covered. We saw how to use images, videos, and different asset types in your site authoring experience, how to configure the filters. The filterings that we saw for the asset selector, we just scratched the surface, but it is very extensible. You can make it, tailor-make it based on your site requirements. We also saw authoring context application on pages so that these site authors only get to see the limited subset of assets which are applicable for your site, and also leveraging the Assets front-end plugin. So taking a step backwards and looking at the broader picture, there are two surfaces where this assets integration surfaces. One is through the universal editor, and the second is the doc-based authoring flow, which is the Sidekick extension. Both of these use the common core, which is the Asset Selector micro frontend, and then these can be plugged in with the custom configurations based on your custom requirements. We have a few quick points to cite over here for the next steps. One is better customizability. So we saw the templating support for video assets. We plan to extend that for other asset types so that you can customize what gets copied over to the Word document or the authoring surface when you're copying an asset based on the block structure that you have. Besides that, the authoring experience can be much more improved if we extended the context asset selection based on what is the content on the page that you're authoring. Let's say you have some text on the page, and it would be great if the asset selector recommends you asset which would be which would make sense to be used on that page, and also multi-select capability where you choose multiple assets, paste them in one go, and you have all those assets available in the blocks. And the Enhance Assets front-end plugin, there are some enhancement planned over there as well. We have a few blocks which can be used as reference, but there are other dynamic media specific use cases, such as if you want to use smart crop, etc. So we plan to add those in the plugin as well. I've added a few links which could act as reference and next steps after having looked at this presentation if you want to get more details. And we are also available on the Discord community of AEM. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please feel free to reach out to us. With that, I'd like to end. Thank you very much.
We start with a quite simple question, but a very important one. Images stored in the Word file, are that copy or are they reference to their original?
Yeah, I get this question often, and actually both the options are available. You could copy over. It's a matter of setting the configuration that the way you would want to. And if you want the images to be referenced, so then you can configure it that way. For videos and other asset types which cannot be copied over to Word documents, you would of course have to use references.
When I change the images in the DAM, will the reference be updated in the document?
Yes, if you have them referenced, then of course it would be. But if you have them copied over, in that case, since you have a disconnected copy, so that it would not.
All right. Is there a migration path from classic dynamic media to Open API?
Yeah, so this is, I'd say that a limited set of features are already available from the Scene7 stack on the Dynamic Media Open API, and there are plans to have more along those lines. But I don't have specific details around that right now, but of course I can get that and share with the group.
Now we get a very long sentence, so I have to breathe first. Okay. How do customers enact governance on either document-based or crosswalk-based Edge Delivery Services sites to enforce that assets are only sourced from AEM Assets as opposed to letting users randomly copy-paste objects from their desktop? All right.
Yeah, that's so I see that as something which you can, of course, implement that at your site level because it's a business-specific requirement. For example, you only want to allow assets which are sourced from AEM Assets. So there could be some checks put in place that when you are publishing the page, so there is some true-up happening and checking that whether those assets are coming from AEM. If not, then there are some notification or something. So there's nothing out of the box as such, but I'd imagine that this is pretty much doable at the custom level.
Is it possible to find all documents on which a particular asset has been referenced?
Yeah, so we did this we had one example where we did this. So it's just an example of what you could do is when you index the pages, so you also index all the assets which are being used on those pages. And given the way indexing Edge Delivery Services works, the index is available as a JSON. So you have references of assets being used on the published pages, and then it's a matter of building some UI on top of that to show up which all assets are being used. Yeah. I would have loved to share that, but we had limited time, so yeah. But that's one way of going about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Satya and Ashutosh.
Thank you.